you want to see how it turned out, check the description down below. Also, if you want to make this recipes on your own, there's also some fun recipes down below.
Hey, what's up? Sidekick's coming at you. Welcome back to my show, and a show where I like to cook things for my friends. Apparently, today I'll be cooking for my friend E-Man, and he's very much like me where he's not very picky about food. As long as it tastes good, then you're all good, right? So it was a very tough decision to pick what I wanted to cook for him, but finally decided on butter chicken, so it'll be my first time cooking it, so hopefully it works out. So let's get started. So what they call for in this recipe that I'm cooking is some boneless chicken and red chili peppers, some salt, and some garlic paste. But what I did here is, instead of using red chili peppers, I did some cayenne pepper. Hope that's okay. And I'm supposed to marinate it, so let's see what happens.
So what the recipe called for was to marinate your chicken in some of the garlic sauce and some of your spices. Then once they have settled for a bit, you pan fry your chicken. And as you see, I kept loading them in. And I hope this recipe is not too spicy for my friend E-Man, but we'll see what happens. Of course, for the gravy portion of this butter chicken, you have some onions, you have some malt vinegar, you have, of course, your butter chicken, because it's butter chicken. You have some of your spices set aside for you, and I have the garlic paste, and of course it calls for some tomatoes. So I upgraded to a bigger pot because I knew I was making a lot of this butter chicken. So your sauce and your gravy, you're supposed to cook it separate from your chicken while the chicken was cooling off to the side. So you have to make sure that all your ingredients were cooked well, and make sure before you actually blend them separately. So I was cooking them, and before cooking them, make sure that you're cooked very well. And then eventually you have to blend them, but I don't think I really blend them well enough, but it's okay. But you add your chicken to your sauce and make sure that your chicken is covered in this sauce.
So brownies is always a classic thing to make, and it's always a crowd favorite. So today what I'm going to cook for my friend E-Man is some brownies. So I got my chocolate chips, I got some cocoa powder, some eggs, some sugar, flour, and some butter. So let's start cooking.
So I have my butter and I have my sugar, and I blend it all together. And something that I found interesting about this recipe is that you're supposed to add one egg at a time. But as you see, I didn't always add one egg at a time. Sometimes I added two, and it blends together. Something I found interesting too is that you're blending your cocoa powder and your flour together, and so that they blend together well enough. So this is what I added to my brownies. So then I put it in my pan and make sure that it's all nice and smooth in my pan. And eventually, don't forget to make sure that you have your chocolate chips on your brownie. So, what I found out later was E-Man was going to bring his girlfriend Margot, and I just have to make something for her because she doesn't really eat meat. So what I made for her was something called veggie pasta. Veggie pasta is something that my mother has stored in her recipe book. It's basically your pasta, or your pasta noodles, your red onions, your bell peppers, your zucchini, your sweet potatoes, and some oil, spices to add to your mix, and you bake it. If you guys want me to show you how I made it, please leave in the comments below. If not, then that's fine.